The Sith philosophy is built on power, ambition, and conflict. Unlike the Jedi, who seek balance and harmony, the Sith embrace struggle as the key to strength. The rule of two, established by Darth Bane, ensures only the strongest Sith survive. One master, embodying power, and one apprentice, craving it. This system prevents the infighting that once plagued the Sith Order and keeps power constantly tested and refined. But here's the paradox. What happens when a Sith master has no apprentice? The Sith define themselves by ambition and succession, but their own system creates an existential crisis. If a master is too weak, they're overthrown too soon, leaving an unprepared successor. If they're too strong, they remain unchallenged, and stagnation sets in. The Sith's greatest strength, power through conflict, is also their greatest weakness. A master without an apprentice has no worthy rival, and without struggle, their power becomes hollow. The rule of two was designed to ensure that the Sith would always be led by the strongest. Darth Bane believed the old Sith, who were constantly embroiled in infighting, doomed themselves through their endless conflict. By limiting the Sith to just two, he concentrated their power and made sure each new generation would be stronger than the last. But this system, it's inherently unstable. If the apprentice is too weak to challenge the master, the Sith lineage stagnates. If the master prevents succession entirely, they rule without purpose. And that's the Sith's existential crisis. Power for power's sake leads to emptiness. Darth Revan understood this instability. He said, "Any master who instructs more than one apprentice in the ways of the dark side is a fool. In time, the apprentices will unite their strength and overthrow the master. It's inevitable, axiomatic. That's why each master must have only one student." Revan's words show why the rule of two was necessary. It limits betrayal to a controlled one-on-one struggle. But even this structure can't solve the core problem. The master is doomed, and the apprentice is trapped in an endless cycle of killing or being killed. A perfect example of this is Darth Sidious. He manipulated the rule of two to his advantage, ensuring he was never truly threatened by his apprentices. He trained Darth Maul as a weapon, not a successor. He kept Darth Tyrannus, Count Dooku, as a temporary tool while seeking a stronger replacement. Even Darth Vader, his final apprentice, was crippled and kept dependent on him. By doing this, Sidious ensured his dominance, but also sealed the Sith's downfall. In hoarding power and eliminating all true threats, he broke the very system that made the Sith strong. Sidious knew this dilemma well, and he said, "Choose someone as a successor, and you will inevitably be succeeded. Choose someone hungrier, and you'll be devoured. Choose someone quicker, and you won't dodge the blade at your back. Choose someone with more patience, and you won't block the blade at your throat. Choose someone more devious, and you'll hold the blade that kills you. Choose someone more clever, and you'll never know your end." Despite these cautions, an apprentice is essential. A master without an apprentice is a master of nothing. Sidious fully embraced the Sith paradox. He knew any apprentice would try to overthrow him, yet he also understood that without an apprentice, he was nothing. This is the tragedy of the Sith. Their philosophy ensures no Sith Lord can ever rule in absolute security. A Sith master who is too powerful faces a unique dilemma. They must either allow themselves to be challenged or risk becoming stagnant. The Sith code teaches that strength is achieved through struggle, yet a master who clings to power contradicts this belief. Some Sith masters, terrified of betrayal, suppress their apprentices instead of allowing them to grow. They withhold knowledge, sabotage training, or even kill their apprentices before they can become a threat. While this may help the master rule longer, it weakens the Sith as a whole. Without a worthy successor, the Sith legacy diminishes. A master who rules through fear alone is not truly powerful. They're merely surviving. Other Sith attempt to escape the cycle entirely by seeking immortality. Darth and Dedue sought to preserve his consciousness beyond death, and Darth Plagueis experimented with preventing decay. But this contradicts the Sith's core belief in power through conflict. Immortality is stagnation, and stagnation is weakness. A master who refuses to die denies the natural order of the Sith. They may live indefinitely, but their power becomes meaningless without an apprentice to challenge them. Just as a master without an apprentice is an existential contradiction, so too is an apprentice without a master. The apprentice represents ambition, the drive to surpass limits, but if they're not strong enough to challenge their master, the system fails. A weak apprentice means a weak Sith order. If a master selects an apprentice who lacks true ambition or ability, they risk weakening the Sith lineage. The apprentice also struggles with their own identity. They're taught betrayal is inevitable, but what if they're not ready? What if their master is too powerful to defeat? If they wait too long, they risk becoming nothing more than a servant instead of a true Sith Lord. That's why many apprentices act prematurely, attempting to overthrow their master before they're truly prepared. In doing so, they often doom themselves and disrupt the Sith future. Every attempt to break the Sith cycle has failed. The rule of two leads to inevitable betrayal. Attempts to unify the Sith contradict their core philosophy of personal ambition. The Sith exist in a paradox. They are strongest when they fight, but their greatest enemy is themselves. If they evolve into a more stable organization, they cease to be Sith in the traditional sense. If they cling to their self-destructive nature, they will always collapse under their own ambition. Perhaps the true answer is this: the Sith don't need to break the cycle, because the cycle is what makes them Sith. They're not meant to rule forever. They're meant to rise, conquer, and fall, only for another to take their place. It is in their destruction that they are reborn. A master without an apprentice is nothing. An apprentice without a master is lost. And so the Sith must always fight and destroy, not because they are doomed, but because it is their nature.